The son of the sitting president is about to be held in contempt. Last week, congressional committees advanced resolutions to Congress recommending that Hunter Biden be held in contempt. This is a huge news story the mainstream media has not been covering, which is shocking to me because Hunter Biden is in big trouble this time. You are going to want to watch this video all the way to the end because I've uncovered some things that a lot of people don't know about. President Joe Biden is facing an impeachment inquiry, so he's not being impeached yet. There's an inquiry where Congress is investigating whether he should be impeached. The investigation involves Hunter and Joe Biden setting up multiple shell companies to engage in influence peddling with foreign nations, some of which are enemies of the United States. The allegation is that Joe Biden took bribes as payment for decisions that screwed over the American people in order to make his own family rich. Not only would this be disgusting behavior, it would be illegal. Some people argue that it is treason. So far, Congress has found more than $15 million that went to the Biden family from foreign entities. Congress has even found checks that went directly into Joe Biden's bank account. With all of this evidence, what would normally happen is the Department of Justice would investigate. But we have had whistleblowers come forward from the IRS and FBI that claim that the Department of Justice is actually trying to cover up the criminal activity by Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. Why is the Department of Justice covering up for the president? Congress has taken the initiative to perform their own investigation. The next step would be to have Hunter Biden sit for questions during a deposition. There are some really simple questions that Hunter Biden should be able to answer. And we have to be fair. We need to allow for the possibility that maybe he is innocent. If he is innocent, he should be able to answer these questions. For instance, number one, what good or service did his business provide? The Biden family received $15 million. What was it for? If it was not for bribes, it has to have been for something. Number two, what was the purpose of all these shell companies? If it was not for money laundering, what was the purpose for each one of these companies? Number three, Hunter Biden's business partner testified that during business meetings, Hunter Biden put Joe Biden on speakerphone approximately 20 times. What was that for? Joe Biden has said repeatedly that he did not have business dealings with his son.
How many times have you ever spoken to your son about his overseas business dealings?
I've never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings.
Do you stand by your statement that you did not discuss any of your son's overseas business?
Yes, I stand by that statement. There's not a single solitary thing anyone said that was done wrong. I don't discuss business with my son.
If Joe Biden's statements are true, and he was not involved in Hunter Biden's businesses, why was Hunter putting his father on speakerphone? Number four, Hunter Biden wrote in an email that he is holding 10% for the big guy. Was the big guy referring to Joe Biden? If it's not, who is the big guy? And five, we need to ask about specific examples. For instance, the mayor of Moscow's wife, Yelena Baturina, transferred $3.5 million to Hunter Biden's business in 2014. What was that money for exactly? Donald Trump even talked about this in the debates in 2020.
While we're at it, why is it, just out of curiosity, the mayor of Moscow's wife gave your son $3.5 million? What did he do to deserve it? What did he do with Burisma to deserve $183,000?
None of that is true. Let him answer.
None of that is true.
Oh, really?
Totally,
Mr. President,
Mr.
President, please.
Totally discredited. Totally discredited. And by the way,
well, wait, he didn't get $3.5 million, Joe?
Mr. Vice,
he got $3.5 million.
That is not true.
Oh, really?
Mr. President, it's an open discussion, please.
Now, it's a fact.
Well, is it possible that Donald Trump was right about this the whole time? Why didn't any of us listen to him? But it gets even worse. Yelena Baturina separately invested about $120 million in Hunter Biden's real estate firm. Then at a dinner with Yelena Baturina and Kazakhstani business associates, one of them wired $142,000 to Hunter Biden so he could buy a luxury car. Fast forward to today. Russia has invaded Ukraine. The U.S. has responded by placing sanctions on wealthy Russians. Except Joe Biden, for some reason, has not put any sanctions on Yelena Baturina. I need to emphasize that this is happening right now. Why would Joe Biden sanction all of these other Russians, but not sanction this one person? What is the reason for the different treatment? Does it have anything to do with the millions of dollars that flowed to Biden family businesses? This is something Congress should ask about. I should note that the White House has changed their story about this. Initially, Joe Biden would say that he did not have business dealings with his son. Now, the wording of his statements has changed. Hunter Biden now claims, "My father was not financially involved in my business." That's strange. Why would they change the story if nothing was going on? What does financially involved mean? Apparently, it is a specific term they made up. Hunter Biden explains that Joe Biden did not participate as a practicing lawyer, a board member of Burisma, in my partnership with a Chinese private businessman, my investment at home nor abroad, as an artist. So apparently, if Joe Biden did not do these very specific things, he was not financially involved. This seems like a lot of malarkey to me. If Joe Biden was receiving bribes, it doesn't matter if he was named as a board member at Burisma. What does that have to do with anything? If he was taking money on the side from the Chinese partnership, it doesn't matter if he was actually named in the partnership papers. He would still be doing something illegal. Creating a new term for financially involved does not mean anything and returns us to the question of why did the White House change their story? We know Joe Biden was involved in conference calls. We know he attended business meetings. We know Joe Biden received the money. We need to ask Hunter Biden specific questions on how Joe Biden was involved. So Congress scheduled a deposition, only Hunter Biden did not show up. On the day of the deposition, Hunter Biden held a press conference on the steps of the Capitol, claiming that he was being unfairly attacked. He left without showing up for the deposition. This is a flagrant violation of the law. He not only ignored the subpoena, he told the world that he was ignoring it on the steps of the Capitol. Let's put this in context. Donald Trump's children, Ivanka Trump and Donald Trump Jr., both testified in front of the January 6th committee. Also, Ivanka's husband, Jared Kushner, testified, and also Donald Trump Jr.'s fiancée, Kimberly Guilfoyle, testified as well. All these people from Trump's family answered the subpoena by Congress. Why can't Hunter Biden respond to the subpoena? Now, some of Donald Trump's advisors who were subpoenaed refused to comply and did not show up. Peter Navarro, Dan Scavino, Mark Meadows, and Steve Bannon. They were all held in contempt. These people all worked for President Trump and are typically covered under something called executive privilege. Executive privilege means that if you are advising the president, you cannot be pulled in by Congress for questioning. The office of the president needs that level of independence to operate. This is based on the separation of powers that is in the Constitution. Now, Congress can break executive privilege if they're investigating crimes by the president. But in the case of January 6th, Congress tried to impeach Donald Trump and failed. So by law, there was no crime committed and no legitimate reason for Congress to ignore executive privilege. But even with these legal arguments, Steve Bannon was still found guilty of contempt and sentenced to 4 months in prison. His sentence has been delayed pending an appeal. Peter Navarro was also found guilty of contempt and is scheduled for sentencing on January 25th this coming week. Both Mark Meadows and Dan Scavino were found in contempt of Congress, but the DOJ decided not to prosecute them because, while they did not testify, they did provide documents and text messages responsive to the requests from Congress. But the point is that all four of them were found in contempt by Congress for not showing up to their deposition. Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro are likely going to prison. So why is it that Hunter Biden is not in jail? Hunter Biden cannot claim executive privilege. Congress can subpoena him at any time, and he's required to show up. Think about this from your own personal perspective. If you received a court order to show up somewhere and you just blow it off, do you know what happens to you? You go to jail. It is called contempt of court. You cannot just ignore a court order. That is what is happening here. Hunter Biden is acting like the law does not apply to him. But it gets even more strange. The Oversight Committee held a hearing to recommend contempt charges against Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden showed up and sat in the front row. This is outrageous. He blows off the subpoena and then watches as they vote to hold him in contempt. This is like Hunter Biden giving a big middle finger to the Congress. I don't know of a more flagrant example of contempt than this. Then, during the committee meeting, as soon as Marjorie Taylor Greene started to speak, Hunter Biden stormed out of the hearing.
Chair recognizes Ms. Greene from Georgia for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Excuse me, Hunter. Apparently you're afraid of my words.
Whoa! Oh.
I'd like to reclaim my time, Mr. Chairman.
Kind of burst their bubble. Wow, that's too bad.
I think it's clear and obvious for everyone watching this hearing today that Hunter Biden is terrified of strong conservative Republican women because he can't even face my words as I was about to speak to him. What a coward.
Both the Oversight Committee and the Judiciary Committee voted to recommend contempt charges. The next step is that Congress will vote whether to hold Hunter Biden in contempt. If that passes, which it likely would, the Department of Justice would have a hard time not arresting Hunter Biden. In fact, if Merrick Garland, the head of the Department of Justice, did not arrest Hunter Biden, Merrick Garland would likely be impeached for running a two-tiered justice system. Hunter Biden is in serious trouble. Hunter Biden's lawyers have now contacted Congress. They now claim that Hunter Biden is willing to sit for a deposition as originally requested. Jim Jordan and James Comer then responded with this letter, saying that Hunter Biden was still guilty of contempt, but they would be willing to take Hunter Biden's deposition and are going to schedule a new deposition within a couple of weeks. From their perspective, they just want the information as quickly as possible. They want Hunter Biden to answer their questions. Something else I hope they ask Hunter Biden about is his art sales. When Hunter Biden suddenly became an artist and started selling paintings for enormous amounts of money, this was immediately criticized as a potential way to accept bribes. Obama's White House ethics chief, Walter Schaub, said, "I just think that's absolutely appalling." The asking price for Hunter Biden's paintings was $500,000. To put this in context, Nature Morte by Pablo Picasso sold for $118,000 in 2014. Almshouse Man Raking by Vincent van Gogh is valued at $150,000. Pieter Haring by Rembrandt was sold for $81,250 in 2019. Does it make any sense to you that Hunter Biden's paintings are worth more than Pablo Picasso? Someone in the comments, please explain to me how this makes sense. Again, Hunter Biden says that Joe Biden was not financially involved with his art. whatever that means. But Hunter Biden's art dealer, George Berger, recently testified in front of Congress and claimed that he spoke with Joe Biden twice during this period. Why would the art dealer speak with the President of the United States? That's funny. The art dealer also testified that there was no ethics deal in place. This is the exact opposite of what the White House told us. This is Jen Psaki explaining the ethics plan.
And I have a question on Hunter Biden's artwork. Did the White House play any role in crafting the sales agreement with the New York Gallery to protect the purchasers or the ultimate purchaser's identity?
Well, I can tell you that after careful consideration, a system has been established that allows for Hunter Biden to work in his profession within reasonable safeguards. Of course, he has the right to pursue an artistic career, just like any child of a president has the right to pursue a career. But all interactions regarding the selling of art and the setting of prices will be handled by a professional gallerist adhering to the highest industry standards. And any offer out of the normal course would be rejected out of hand. And the gallerist will not share information about buyers or prospective buyers, including their identities with Hunter Biden or the administration, which provides quite a level of protection and transparency.
The gallery owner is a private citizen who might not be privy to who might have some interests in purchasing this artwork. Is the White House doing anything to work with the owner to make sure there's not impropriety there when it is ultimately sold?
Well, I think it would be challenging for an anonymous person who we don't know and Hunter Biden doesn't know to have influence. So that's a protection. Go ahead.
Jen Psaki is a liar. According to the art dealer, Hunter Biden knew and met with the majority of the buyers of his art. It seems like there were very limited protections and they were not put in place until months after the White House made their statement. By that time, much of the art had already been sold. How could the White House make a public statement saying they had an agreement in place when there was no agreement in place? Actually, the opposite is true. The art dealer testified that at the time the White House made their statement, the gallery actually had a written agreement with Hunter Biden that they would disclose to Hunter Biden who the purchasers of his art were. The White House was lying. We still don't know all of the names of who bought the art, but at least one of them was named Elizabeth Naftali. She was appointed by Joe Biden to a prestigious position on the Commission for the Preservation of America's Heritage Abroad. She paid $42,000 for one painting and then bought a second painting for $52,000. She then visited the White House 13 times. Elizabeth Naftali has denied that her payments to the Biden family were purchased to give herself access. But the appearance is certainly suspicious, especially since the Bidens were not supposed to know who purchased the art, and it turns out that they did. Here's the part of the story that no one is talking about. I don't even think Congress knows about this. When Hunter Biden attended the Oversight Committee hearing, he was sitting next to this man. Do you know who this is? This is a Hollywood lawyer named Kevin Morris. The rumor is that Kevin Morris was there because he is helping Hunter Biden create a movie about his life. Kevin Morris was also the biggest purchaser of Hunter Biden's paintings. He paid Hunter Biden $875,000 for 11 paintings. Not only that, Kevin Morris has a history of giving Hunter Biden large sums of money. An IRS whistleblower revealed that Kevin Morris gave Hunter Biden $4.9 million over a 3-year period. Does this seem strange to anyone? Is it normal for a Hollywood lawyer to give someone millions of dollars out of the kindness of their heart? I wonder who is paying to film the new movie about Hunter Biden. Probably Kevin Morris. What do we know about Kevin Morris? You might remember him from a news story from last July. Hunter Biden was staying at Kevin Morris's house, and reporters took this photo of Kevin Morris taking a hit from a bong on his porch. We all know that Hunter Biden is a recovering drug addict, and Kevin Morris is doing drugs with him there in the house. That doesn't seem very good. Kevin Morris is an entertainment lawyer who represents clients like Chris Rock and Matthew McConaughey. He also discovered Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the creators of South Park. Before they were famous, Kevin Morris offered to represent them for free, an offer that made him rich. So what is the connection between Kevin Morris and Hunter Biden? Do you remember when Joe Biden first became president? Hunter Biden was receiving criticism for owning a 10% stake in an investment fund backed by the Chinese Communist Party. The fund was called BHR Partners, and Hunter Biden's portion was owned by his shell company called Scania Tellis LLC. This stake is worth millions of dollars. When Joe Biden became president, people were furious that his son was holding such a large investment with the Chinese Communist Party, and Hunter Biden promised to divest of his holdings in the company.
There was concern when President Biden took office about his son's business dealings with China. He was supposed to divest himself of his stake in a Chinese private equity firm in December with ties to the Chinese central bank. As of April, he had not yet done that, and at some point you were going to get back to us on that. Do you have an update on that? Has he dissolved that interest now?
I'd point you to his representatives on that. He doesn't work in the administration.
Into this, though, the president has said during the campaign that none of his family will have any business relationship with anyone that relates to a foreign corporation or a foreign country. Wouldn't it be assuring to the American people as we head into this if they just let the American people know if Hunter has divulged himself of that?
Well, again, I conveyed to you, and then I think I'm going to have to move on, that you should talk to his representatives. There's no reason to yell. I'm certainly not yelling. You should talk to his representatives. That remains his policy. He's been working to wind that down. Beyond that, I think I would talk to his representatives.
The White House said repeatedly that Hunter Biden was working to unwind his investments with China. Let's see if they were lying again. Do you want to know what happened? Reporters recently uncovered this document showing the new amended joint venture contract for BHR Partners. This shows that Kevin Morris is now listed as the managing member for Scania Tellis LLC. So Hunter Biden simply transferred his holdings to his lawyer. And now his lawyer is paying Hunter millions of dollars. That sounds a lot like money laundering. A related story broke just last week. It was revealed that a Chinese billionaire named Chen Tianqiao purchased 200,000 acres of farmland in Oregon in 2015. It has remained a secret until now. Chen Tianqiao became a member of the Chinese Communist Party at the age of 18. And now that he is 50, he has risen through the ranks of the party. This purchase makes Chen Tianqiao the second largest foreign owner of farmland in the U.S. It is also illegal. The Agricultural Foreign Investment Disclosure Act requires foreign investors to report any new purchase of farmland within 90 days. This purchase happened when Joe Biden was vice president. Why was this information hidden? Is it possible that some of the payments to the Biden family from the Chinese Communist Party was to keep the U.S. government quiet about these land purchases? Do you think it's a coincidence that China was giving the Biden family money at the same time they were buying all of this land in secret? Is it disturbing to anyone that the Chinese Communist Party is now the second largest foreign owner of farmland in the United States? Joe Biden's foreign influence peddling could be far worse than anyone realizes. Not only do we have the bank transactions that show millions of dollars to Biden family businesses coming from China, we now have the documents showing a direct connection between the Chinese Communist Party, Kevin Morris, and the Biden family. China funds millions of dollars into the investment fund. Kevin Morris is the managing member for the investment fund, and Kevin Morris gives millions of dollars to Hunter Biden. This is going on right now. I hope that when Congress questions Hunter Biden, they ask him about this. What about the 10% stake in BHR Partners? And why does Kevin Morris keep giving Hunter Biden all of this money? It's hard to hear about so much corruption. Sometimes it's depressing. There's so much evil in the world. How are good people supposed to get ahead? But I think there's a reason for hope. I think there's a movement going on right now of people who are proud to be an American. They are sick of the corruption and they want a change. This reminds me of an old Disney movie I used to watch called Hercules. There's a song in that movie that says, "I won't look back, I can go the distance, and I'll stay on track. No, I won't accept defeat. It's an uphill slope, but I won't lose hope till I go the distance and my journey is complete." I think it's time for this new movement of people to go the distance. Now I want to hear from you. If you think that Hunter Biden should go to prison for contempt, let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. If you like these videos, please consider supporting the channel through a monthly membership. Just last week, I thought I put out a pretty good video. It was demonetized. Why is YouTube trying to cover up this information? I don't know, but I do want to give a big thank you to everyone who has signed up on my website, wolvesandfinance.com. For $6 a month, all of your support helps me to keep putting out these videos. I'm Zach from Wolves and Finance. Thank you for watching.